In this video, I will be making a sword from an anime called Demon Slayer. Technically, this sword is from the manga, but I like it better than the one that's actually in the series. This was the way I originally planned to make the sword's blade, but I didn't like it, so I ended up making a board out of filament. Then I just glued the template to the filament board. Then I roughly cut out the shape. I did that so I can use my rotary tool to shape it perfectly. And this is how it turned out. And then I lightly went over the blade to remove small bumps and dents. I also ended up using a lighter as well, that's why it looks a little burnt. Now that the blade was done, it was time to make the guard. I piled the filament up until it was a decent size, then I smoothed it out. I did the same thing with all the other pieces. For some reason, I ended up filling in that piece when it was supposed to be hollow, but don't worry, I fixed it later. Now I just needed to add all the pieces together. That fit perfectly. I gave myself 10 out of 10 stars. Then I used my mini iron to melt both pieces together. After adding both of these pieces, the guard is done. Now it's time to add the sword to the guard. After that was done, I needed to make the habaki, which is the collar of the guard. Then I went over it with my Clover mini iron. Now this looks really good. I was actually surprised it came out like this because the last sword I made was This is the sword I made over a year ago for reference. Next, I ended up making the handle. This isn't the final handle either. I just didn't record me making the handle I made, so I had to put something inside the video. This handle ended up just being too big and too round, and it looked ridiculous when compared to the sword. I ended up putting together 4 long rectangles to make the handle you'll see later in the video. Also, this handle took me like 3 maybe 4 hours to make, and I never used it, so that's nice. You can just see how much better that looks compared to the other one almost immediately. So from this point forward, some of the clips are just going to be super dark. I have no idea why my video editor did that. They are not that dark when I put them into the editor. I didn't want the habaki to be plain, so I just added some small details to it, a couple lines and some dots. The final 3D pen step was just putting both pieces together. It looks really smooth here, but I'm going to make it look way smoother. I'm going to cover it all in spackle paste to fill the gaps and make it all an even surface. I'm using a 60 grit sandpaper block to sand it all. This is what it looked like after the first time. Pretty good. To do this method perfectly, you also need to spray on a sandable primer. This is at the 1 coat, and this is at the 4 to 5. I just want to clarify, after every coat I did of this sandable primer, I put more spackle paste on top of it. I don't have the beginning of me painting this, but it's painting, right? We all get the idea. The guard alone took me like 4 days to paint. I'm not kidding you, I messed it up every single time. Since the blade was black and silver, I just painted the whole thing in black. Then I covered half in painter's tape, and this is what I got. I had such a hard time putting this design in, so I didn't record me making it. The way I made the design was painting where the design was silver. Then I cut out the design template in painter's tape and slapped it on the silver part. Then when I painted over in black, it left the design. But when I copied the template, I didn't mirror them, so both of the designs are facing 2 different ways. And before anyone says, oh no, you didn't wrap the sword correctly, I know this is not how it looks in the anime or the manga, but this is simply just how I did it. Cut off the excess wrap and use my sister's nail glue to glue it. And then I needed to paint the character Metsu, which means destruction. This isn't perfect, but I really wanted to freehand it. I didn't want to just copy it or trace it out. And this is how it looked in the end. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.